Hello and welcome to my Xros Heart deck profile for bt13. It started as a deck, just playing for fun, updated it with some cards from bt12. Just thought it'd be fun to play something different because bt13 has been going on for a while. But actually been winning a couple of locals with it. And so yeah, I thought I'd do a deck profile in case anyone's interested. For like the 10 people who watch this video. But yeah, without further ado, first off we run 4 copies of Pikmon for the egg. Very standard, it's the only egg you're ever going to run with this. And 4 is generally enough, I've never run out of eggs. So yeah, 4 Pikmon. The first cards I'm going to speed through because it should be pretty obvious. 4 of the bt10 Shoutmon. It searches and it gives rush, so the rush part is absolutely essential for the deck. The searching is nice too because we don't actually have that many searches aside from Cross 3 and the Tamer. Otherwise it's just raw draw power, so it's nice to have searching. 4 copies of Starmon and 4 copies of Sparrowmon. I feel like this is pretty much, what you have to run. It's mandatory. No other rookie will really, help you get what you need, and these all help with the Digicross, so 4 of each is super standard. For level 4s, we have 4 copies of Ballistamon, 4 copies of Drillamon. Again, these are basically mandatory at 4 for part of the deck and to make the Digicross things. Nothing much to say. If you're vaguely familiar with the deck, you'll know that you run both at 4. We run 3 copies of Shoutmon Cross 3. It's not as good as Cross 4, obviously. Because you can't keep attacking with it multiple times, in a way. But it's actually a really good searcher. The whole deck is Xros Heart, so you're literally just looking at the top 3 and grab any 2 cards. It also only takes 3 things to make, so it's a little easier to make. Its start of turn effect almost never comes up. There's almost never an opportunity that you're going to be like, oh, I don't want to swing, I'm going to delete it to gain a memory. Pretty much the only time I use this effect, if it was stunned with couldn't unsuspend or a sore eye, and then I might want to just get that memory because it can't attack anyways. But otherwise you're never really going to use that effect. 1 cost 4, cards busted. Shame you can't go cross 4 to cross 4 anymore, but that kind of nuts. And yeah, cards is really good. It's pretty much a 1 cost free swing that still lets you put all your pieces under most times, because this somehow has jamming. Not actually, but it feels like it has jamming. Then we have 2 copies of Cross 5. It's still a solid card. It's honestly not my favorite thing. It's got the blocker, and if Jimmy used Sparrowmon to make it, it'll block a reboot, so you can swing for 2 checks, reboot, block, swing for 2 checks, etc, etc. So it's solid, but not amazing. We have 2 copies of Omni Shoutmon, surprisingly useful. If the opponent was spamming rookies, just digivolving into this, worked out pretty good. Just go up for 4 from Shoutmon into this, or you can go into cross 3 or cross 4. But yeah, popping stuff pretty good. The security attack +1 comes up all the time. The fact that it counts as Shoutmon. If you don't need the rush, like your passing turn, this is fine to go into. So 2Z Greymon, again, mainly here for Digicross materials. But you can use it on stuff like your Omni Shout or Cross 5 to potentially get the extra swing in for game. But that's rarely what we're using it for. But still, If you have one in hand, keep it in mind, but mainly using it for Digicross. 2 copies of Xros 7. I like this one more than Xros 5. It does use different stuff, you know, because it uses the Omni and Zeeg rather than like the regular Shoutmon. But this one can removal, 13,000 removal, and often it's higher, so you can basically remove pretty much, you know, any unboosted Digimon when you play it. It saves 4 as well, so even if you don't put all 6 things under, it can still do a lot of damage. Yeah, so very nice card. I like this one. It's probably like this one more than that one. And that's it for what I consider the mandatory Digimon. There are definitely other Digimon, but I'll get into them later. But all these ones are pretty much essential at the numbers I've put them at. 4 Taiki, best tamer in the deck. You know, lets you use stuff from under your tamers, and it's a searcher. And we have a way to play it for free. So yeah, crazy not to run 4 of it. 2 copies of Akari and 2 copies of Zendro. You can alter these ratios depending on how much you like these cards. Honestly, these cards feel so good when you have the right card, like the Durillamon and the Ballistamon, and they feel so bad when you don't have it. Otherwise it's a 3 cost to do nothing, and you eventually grind out advantage. But personal preference, you can up these to 3 if you want to, especially if you take out some of the other tech choices I have at the end of the video. Yeah, but 2 is pretty good, because if you have 2, you don't see it as often, but by the time you do see it, you're more likely to have the relevant Digimon to actually get both the effects off. Lastly, for tamers, because I'm focused on Xros 7 Superior Mode, I'm running 4 copies of the Taiki, Kiraha, and Nene, aka the triple tamer. It's really good. It's good if they're hidden security, it's good if you open it and you start using its effect from the get-go. Putting stuff under just helps accelerate your plays, and you're just gaining memory and drawing every turn. I wish we had a way to play this one for free as well. That would be really nice, like, you know, if its name counted as Taiki. But yeah, that's really liking this tamer, but depending what build you're going, you might not want to run it at 4. For the tech choices, 1, Shoutmon plus Star Sword. Really good one of choice. Again, you can use it to pop rookies. You can give minus 3,000 and then pop something with 2,000 less, so you can get rid of 2 rookies, or you can get rid of 1 champion with 5,000 with this. You know, it's also another thing. Counts as Shoutmon, counts as Starmon, so it helps you Digicross. Although, you know, it doesn't have any inheritables, so it's not optimal, but definitely helps. You gotta run 1. It's too good of a utility card not to run. 1 copy of the bt13 Shoutmon King version. This actually totally popped off, like, surprisingly. Like, because I run a 1 of, it just comes up, like, all the time. The only tamer that's relevant in this deck is the Taiki, so that's why I only run it as 1. But you can Digicross to play it for 3 and then play Taiki for free, or you can just Digivolve on any of your level 3 and then, you know, play the Taiki for free. Yeah, pretty good. It just gives you more offense, and playing Taiki helps, you know, make it cost efficient. Also note that this one's on deletion save. You save itself, and then any Digimon with save from your trash under your tamer. Normally it's whatever you have under it already, but it can be anything else too. So you can get a missing piece that they maybe hit from security or whatnot. So yeah, really good one of. Only downside, does not count as Shoutmon, so keep that in mind. Next we have the original, the bt10 Shoutmon King version. This one does count as Shoutmon, so you can use it for your Shoutmon Digicrossing. This one works really well with certain Digicross combos because it adds back any of your big pieces. Yeah, I can add back your cross 4, like adding back cross 4 because it's limited. You can add back any of the big ones you're missing, and most importantly, you can add back your cross 7 superior mode. And because its name counts as Shoutmon, you can then immediately Digicross into your superior mode using this card. Assuming that it's still your turn after you summon it. The 3 play costs to just add back from trash might seem a bit average, but it still gives a lot of utility. You know, you can easily make a 3 cost rush with this, which is helpful. The Inheritables plus 2000, and yeah, just another nice one-of that I highly recommend. Last but not least for the one-ofs, we have one Mervamon. I see a lot of decks not running this anymore, but she's Xros Heart. You know, we're not using it in a Mervaloop deck or anything like that, but some decks just can't handle a wide board of blockers. You know, if you have something from Rookie, maybe you Digicrossed, and then you make her, and then she brings back 2 things, your opponent's staring at like maybe 5 blockers. And some decks just can't power through that, and you know, maybe you swing for game next turn. If you're versing a deck where she's not good, you know, she Digicross. I just, you know, you chuck her under the Trio Tamer. You know, you use it for Digicross material for something that uses any generic thing, like the King version or whatever. Or actually not the King version, because she doesn't have saving attacks. But just the Trio Tamer. But yeah, it feels like pretty neat, because when she does come up, she can be huge, and if not, just chuck her under the Tamer, get rid of her, doesn't matter. Finally, and this is probably very different to most people, I run 2 copies of the Shoutmon Cross 7 Superior Mode. I love this card, and the reason why I started playing this at locals is because it was really fun to try and summon him for as low cost as possible. It's really good if you have a lot of stuff in trash, or they've maybe bounced your cards like Mirage Galgamon, stripped your sources, deleted your Tamers with Blackwall Greymon, and they think you have no way to come back. But if you get to 3 memory, you know, you can play the Shoutmon King version, or Star Sword, or any other Shoutmon, and just use everything in your trash to make this. Optionally, you can just use stuff from your Tamer in hand like normal. A really fun card. However, it's kind of make or break, because it doesn't save anything under it. So if they get rid of it, you usually lose unless you're already set up for like 1 more attack to win game anyways. It doesn't have a lot of effects on it, aside from basically removing anything. Like you can remove, and even remove like the Greymon stuff, because you remove the sources, then you remove the Digimon. So pretty much anything that's going to stay standing would be like the Belphemon Sleep Mode, something like that. But yeah, it'll gain a bunch of inheritables from everything under it. It'll gain the Reboot, Blocker, Security Attack +1, even more DP, Piercing. So yeah, it'll gain a bunch of effects. But yeah, I run 2, because if I see one early, again, chuck it under the Tamer. It's also a big security bomb, even though it doesn't have a security effect. The fact that it's 17,000 means it can take out a lot of level 6s and even level 7s. Like I've had like an unboosted Mirage Galgamon Burst Mode swing into security, and they totally had game if all their swings went through, and they hit this, they hit the 17, so unfortunately for them that was, they lost the game because of that. But yeah, most people run as 1, and logically I would run this as a one-of, because 1's all you really need, but I was running 2 to see it more often, and to have it in security, or just chuck it under stuff. But yeah, basically to see it more often. Because it uses stuff with different names, you can also use Superior Mode as one of the cards to go into Superior Mode, which I did like all the time, because kind of funny just to chuck another superior mode under. But yes, that's the deck. You know, if that's all you wanted to see, you know, pause the video, end it here. I will go through now some of the tech choices I have for the deck. I'll pull out all the cards again because I did not plan this video at all. To give you some choices. So again, we have the 12 rookies that are pretty much staple, so not going to go into those. We have the Blistermon and Drillamon, again, staple. 3x3, I would not increase it because it's good at searching but doesn't really help with offensive pressure that much. 2's too few and 4's too many in my opinion. If you really insist, you can change it, but I feel like 3 is the perfect number. Obviously 1x4. 2x5, all of these being 2-ofs kind of makes sense, with one exception being these cards. Again, for Taiki, if you want to run Sunrise Buster, you can totally run her at more copies to give you a yellow. I don't think the card's that good in this deck because you don't run that many yellow and red tamers. Like, you'd have to run 3 or 4 of her, and then maybe like a tie red memory tamer to add more red. So you'd have to kind of change your tamer ratios to run Sunrise Buster, but you can if you want to. Zendro also, like Kari, could be bumped up to 3. Bumping him up to 3 would be if you want to be lucky and hit him in security, to play out that Blistermon during your opponent's turn to stop them getting game, because they're not really going to plan for you having a blocker being summoned during the middle of their attacks, so this can sometimes stop them getting game. If you're not going as heavy on the Cross 7 superior mode, I would reduce this. So I think the normal mount is actually 3. And then to take out a tamer, I like the tamer ratio, so you can add 1 more tamer, you know, add a memory tamer or another Kari or Zendro. If you don't like this tamer at all, you're just like, nah, this tamer, not for me, you could reduce it to 2 and add 2 more tamers. But as long as you keep the tamer ratio high, because you need to see your tamers to actually make the deck work, really. So up to you. 4 for me because I'm going heavy into it, but you can drop down to 3 if you want to. All of the one-ofs, totally loving all the one-ofs personally, but feel free to take them out. Or even increase them. Maybe you really like the Star Sword, you just want to keep popping those rookies, you know, add another one. Fun fact, it digivolves on a level 3 red for 0. So technically this can just digivolve on Shoutmon or on itself for 0 cost if you really want to, just to draw. Doesn't really come up that often, but you can do it. This one can be bumped up to 2 copies. Although you only run 4 Taikis, so bumping it up does increase the chance that you have this, but you don't have the tamer. Unless you run the other Taiki, which I think is ass for this deck. So you can bump up to 2, but I don't think you need to. King version, it just helps add back from trash, really. Like, it helps if you lost something that you didn't want to lose, or to get that extra big monster. 1 is totally fine. You don't need more than 1 of that. And again, Mervamon, if you don't like it, cut it, add something else. And Superior Mode, most people run 1. You run 1, and then you use King version if you need to add it back from trash. Yeah, so if you don't like it, cut 1, you know. So there are a few cards you can cut. One variety is leaning heavier into the Cross 7, where you're just like not a big fan of the Superior Mode, just going for Cross 7. If you want to go into Cross 7, you can play this at 3 copies instead of 2, in which case you can add 1 copy of the, I believe it's called Shoutmon DX, which is a Digicross that just uses these 2 to make the Shoutmon DX. That card's ass. but it does count as Omnishout or Z Greymon, so it does help you Digicross into this. Alternatively, Omnishout could be boosted to 3 copies, just to also increase the chance of going into that too. Only other options would be running some options, like a removal option for your security, something like Trident Gaia, Sunrise Buster. You can even run the Xros Heart option itself, the final crossblade, although it's 9 costs, so you really don't want to play it from your hand unless you're winning with it. But yeah, it's option. Yeah, hope you enjoyed the deck video. Feel free to give any feedback below. Been having a lot of fun playing this deck. Played it at 3 locals this format, and won 2 of them, although a little bit of luck. Going into matchups, I've for some reason versed a lot of Mirage Galgamon with this deck, and my advice against Mirage is try and keep your hand as small as possible. Like, I will power into like Digicrossing my big stuff really fast just to lower my hand. I do have to be aware of them bouncing what I summon, but like if I make level 6, they need to use their option or burst mode to get rid of level 6s. So level 6s are actually really safe into Mirage. So yeah, just keep that in mind. If they get the bt12, the bt12 from Mirage Galgamon on the field early, it's really annoying because we basically force the draw when we do almost anything. So that card itself can be troublesome. But if you get rid of that Mirage, then most of the deck's fine. Against Royal Knights, you just gotta rush them before they beat you. Nothing else to say. If they get all the pieces, they win, and if you manage to rush him first, you win. So nothing else to say about that. Against versed Armor Rush, like with Magnamon, and Mervamon puts in a lot of work against that deck. So does the Cross 7, because both of these are higher than 11,000. Against Gallantmon, not much else to say, you just try and rush them. All the removals on deletion, so we get to save everything. If they mill a lot of our deck, that's when Superior Mode becomes stronger. So if they're getting close to Crimson Mode, or we just have a ton of stuff in the trash, going into this can be helpful, because we get a lot of stuff out of our trash and onto the field. Anyway, I'll wrap it up now. Thank you for watching the video, and hope you enjoyed. Bye!